So here's a video on decarboning an outboard motor. I've never done this before. I've watched YouTube videos and looked on forums, and I think I got a good idea on how to do this. So I bought a new line with bulb. You can connect it to the fitting so you can reuse it whenever you need it. I've checked the plugs. This is a new to me boat and motor. I re-gapped them to make sure they're good, but I left the old ones in here instead of replacing with new ones because I'll put in new ones after I decarbon the motor. So what I got here is a 1.25 gallon tank. I put a gallon of ethanol free premium fuel in here. I put a whole can of Seafoam. So the idea is I'm gonna run this motor warm and then let it sit for 15 minutes. And then I'm gonna run it again with the Seafoam. So the idea is that the Seafoam and the gas are gonna get in the carburetors, get in the motor, and it's gonna sit and clean the motor. It's gonna clean it while it's running, it's gonna clean it while it's not running. And then you blow all that out of the motor. And so a final step will be, once I'm done going through this 2 times, will be to run just regular fuel through the motor, and hopefully it'll idle better, less smoke. Additionally, I've went through the fuel lines, I went through the fuel filters, made sure that those were clear, those were flowing good. So here's the setup. I went to Home Depot and I got a bin, a storage bin. I filled it full of water. I got some earmuffs, but I didn't want to put the earmuffs on. I think this thing's going to be blowing carbon and stuff all over the place, so I don't want to have a driveway that has this junk all over it. So hopefully keeps the carbon inside the storage container, and then I can figure out what to do with that afterwards. So let's pump this guy up. So I went through the fuel lines as well, and I replaced them, so I'm checking for any leaks. Once we have pressure and I'm not seeing anything, we'll check it again when the motor's running. But I think we are good to go, so let's give it a shot. So here we are running on the mix. Not getting much smoke. I thought I'd get a lot more smoke than this. We'll wait and see. So I'm going to let this run for 10 to 15 minutes, let it get nice and warm. We're going to let it sit for 10 to 15 minutes. Alright, so we're running, still not much smoke. We're going to rev it up a little bit to make sure to get through both jets, high and low. Alright, now we're smoking a little bit. Still not too bad. Here we are about 10 minutes. It's going to stop at 10 minutes, but the motor's not that hot. We're going to keep going for another 5 minutes. Getting a little bit more smoke out here, which I think is a good thing. So the boat itself is 1995 Sea Ray 175. I just got it. It's in pretty good shape. The motor is the stock motor, Mercury 125. 15 minutes is almost up. Come and check how we're doing. Make sure the tube has enough room. Sitting on the bottom, so we're good. Looks like we're at about 0.75 for a gallon, so we went through about a 1/4 gallon of gas in 15 minutes. So we're filled up with water again. We should be good to go. So starting it up here in just a minute. Alright, so we're back running, everything's good, started right up. Coughed up quite a bit of smoke when it started, and it's still coughing up quite a bit of smoke. Definitely more smoke than when it started. That's pretty obvious from the video. Make sure to start my countdown. Alright, so we got 15 minutes to go here. Once we're done with this 15 minutes, then we'll let it sit for another 15 minutes. And then we'll put together a new mixture in the little fuel tank. So I I revved it up a little bit to get the fuel mixture and both jets on the car, but a lot of smoke came out. I hope that's a good thing. Like I said, I've never done this before, like I said. Just doing what I've read online. But so far so good. Engine's still running good off the mixture. Looks like we got about 8 minutes left to go. Alright, the second 15 minutes is almost up. We got about 34 seconds to go. We just revved it up real good a couple times to get fuel flowing again before we shut it off. We're going to shut it off here, we'll wait another 15 minutes, and then we'll put a new fuel mixture through it. I'll show you guys that new fuel mixture here in just a minute. I actually have never used this product before, but looking online, this looks like what the go-to is for Mercury motors. So there's Quickleen and Quickare. Putting these in 5 gallons of gas. So the mixtures were not quite as easy as the Seafoam. So instead of mixing it for 1 gallon of gas, I mixed it with 5 gallons to make it easy. One of these was 1 ounce for 10 gallons, and the other one was 1 ounce for 5 gallons. So went with 5 gallons, mixed it lower on the one that needed 10 gallons. So we'll see how it goes from there. This is what I'm going to use going forward. So every time I fill up with gas, I'm going to make sure that these are added to it. It sounds like for outboard motors, it's something that you want to do. I know there's other brands out there and people use other brands, and other brands are probably good. But this is what I'm going to go with here. Here's the line we were using. I took the fitting off because we're going to move back to the tank. I was originally going to use a little gas tank, and I was going to use a 5-gallon gas tank, but now I figure it's probably a good idea for this last run, when you're running off of what you're going to run it on in the future, just to hook it back up to the tank. So you get that all hooked up, make sure the connections are good while you're sitting here running on land rather than on open water, so you don't run into any issues. So we got about a little over a minute left. We're going to let it soak, and then we'll fire it back up. Alright, fired it up, started right up. Still got the original Seafoam mixture in there, so we're still blowing off some smoke, plus we supposedly are burning off carbons as well. So it all goes in theory. We'll let this run for 15 minutes, and by the time we're done running, it should be smoking a lot less, pretty much like it was right when we started. Alright, so we're about 6 minutes in. I just went through and gave it a high idle, revved it up a bunch of times, smoking up a storm, but we're looking pretty good. Smoke's kind of dissipating here. Probably in 5 minutes or so I'll rev it up a bunch more. I'll see if we can blow out whatever else is in there, but I think we're looking good. Here we are, 15 minutes is up. We're still running just fine. No smoke. Well, a little bit of smoke. Smoke's minimum. 2 strokes, so it's going to smoke regardless. But we're looking good. I think at least from a decarbonizing perspective, I think we got the job done, or at least what I read online. I guess the true test is going to be how it's going to run out on the open water. So before we go open water, I'm going to go ahead and replace the spark plugs, fill up with fuel based on that mixture I was talking about with the Quicksilver products, and then go from there. But I think we're good. So all wrapped up. I replaced the spark plugs, cleaned out that storage bucket. After cleaning out all that gunk, I decided to fill it back up and run it clean. A little telltale stream out the side of the motor seemed a little gunked up as well. So after running it clean, it actually is flowing a lot better, so I think that's a good thing. So we're all set, ready for Memorial Day weekend. I hope this video helps some folks. Thanks.